Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Colbert Connection. Today is Tuesday. It's 6 o'clock. Well, it might be 6:01. Give us a little leeway. Anyway, I'm Melody Colbert-Keene.
And I'm Danica Colbert. It's another day.
It's another day.
Mm-hmm.
And we are thankful for another day. Yes, we are. But we got some stuff to talk about. First,
It's a big night.
I mean, you need to be here first because the debate.
Yeah.
The debate.
It's a big night. We've been waiting months for this.
For months. The very first presidential debate. Biden and Trump. And, you know, we really want y'all to give us some feedback on this one because we want to know who you think is going to be on top from this debate. Who is going to put together coherent sentences and, you know, what topics are they going to discuss?
That's a good question. Like,
yes.
My big question is, what topics? What are going to be the fact check points of observation for tomorrow?
I need to hear some plans. I mean, I need to know what you're going to do for the economy. Are we going to get another stimulus? What's going to happen, you know, with the COVID relief? Haven't heard.
COVID relief? We're not even going to get started today.
We're not going to talk about COVID today.
We're not even going to go there.
But,
yeah.
I mean, seriously, though, this debate is, they're talking about, like, this is a historical debate. This is the most widely anticipated debate. And why do you think that is, viewers?
I'll give my 2 cents.
Okay.
I think because there is so much animosity between the two, I feel it's going to be a lot of adult bickering. That's what I feel. Bickering.
And you know, it probably will be. And I hate to call them debates because in my opinion, they should be called discussions. Because when you're debating, somebody's trying to prove a right. We're trying to prove right. But let's discuss what you're going to do for America, for the American people.
Michael Jenkins says online that Trump's going to stall through it all. Because, you know, I feel what you're saying because the prompters, you know, we have a problem reading the prompters.
Yes.
And
has a tendency to go off the prompters.
Yeah, and the flashcards, whatever. I don't know what they'll be using tonight, but
flashcards.
He doesn't necessarily stick to those items. So
yeah.
I definitely agree that if he doesn't know, he's not going to admit that he doesn't know.
No. Well, and I just remember from the last one when he was debating Hillary, and he literally walked around while she was talking and kind of got in front of her. That's a bully tactic. I'm just saying, that's a bully tactic. Now, I hope you don't do that tonight, Mr. Trump. If you're watching the Colbert Connection, and you should be, to prepare for your debate tonight. But be respectful. Both of them need to be respectful.
Absolutely.
I hope we see that.
I hope so. I'm excited for us to recap this next week.
I know.
It should be interesting.
It's going to be interesting. And you know, and even I'm being fair, even with Biden, you know,
Sleepy Joe.
We need him to be focused also, and you know, and a lot of people give him a bad rap because they say he stumbles and well, he did have a speech impediment when he was, you know, and he does a lot to overcome that. But yeah, we're gonna need both of them to focus.
We got some more comments.
What we got?
So, Chad says Trump will scream, Biden will babble, and neither will be competent.
Man, so we will have the first non-competent debate tonight at 8 o'clock. We hope it's not a non-competent. I mean, there's a lot of issues really going on in America that need to be touched upon.
Absolutely.
And I truly hope that both of them address them in ways that the American people need to know. Not pander to this or pander to that. Stick to the issues and tell us what you're going to do on addressing them. You know what I mean?
Tell us what you're going to do.
That's what we want to know. Trump and Biden. We know y'all watching the Colbert Connection. And if you're not, you should be.
So if I was there tonight and I got to ask a question, I would say, sir, I need to know. Inquiring minds need to know how you pay $750 in taxes because I need to know.
Well,
I need to know.
I can bet you some of our viewers have paid more than that in taxes and have a much smaller income.
I pay more than that in taxes.
Exactly. I was trying not to get personal with this, but yes.
I'm trying to understand. I need to know who does your taxes.
And I mean, what do you say? Now we know what the delay was.
But you just need to own it.
And quit saying fake news.
Just own it.
American people is not fake news.
Just own it.
There's a lot of people that do a lot of lying in the government and that kind of thing. But the I, the R, and the S, no, they're going to tell you what your taxes are, what you've paid, and what you need to pay.
Yes.
Come on now. You're a leader, be a leader, and own up to it. You cheated the system. I don't know what else to say.
I need to know.
$750.
Inquiring minds need to know. What do y'all think about that?
$750.
I would have felt shameful writing that check. So you know.
You know he didn't.
No.
And we're not. It just. This is what's happening in America.
This is where we are.
So this is why
topics.
these are hot topics, and this is what we are talking about because we want to know your opinions. What do you think about the $750?
Michael Jenkins, you on it tonight? I like it, sir. He says they said he had a good tax person.
Man, and that's what supporters are saying. It's like, well, I need to know who his tax person is.
Absolutely.
Is that really what you want to portray to the American people?
Or is what he's trying to portray is there are all kinds of breaks that people like us don't know about that we should probably be taking part in.
Man, and that's yes.
I'm just saying. And if that's the case, I just need you to show me the money.
Share the information. Share the information. We all need to be getting breaks like that. But then, who's going to fund America?
Good question.
But, right now, it's the small businesses, it's the middle class, the fastly shrinking middle class, and the lower income people that are basically funding America. So, yeah. Yes, you have an absolutely fantastic tax man, but come on. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
When you release that information, send them to my email address. Carrying on.
Yes, ColbertConnection@gmail.com.
There you go.
Or ColbertConnection.com. Just send it, get us a little heads up. So, the Supreme Court nominee.
This is the I shouldn't say that. We're moving awfully fast.
Well,
I saw a post that said, if we had moved as fast with COVID as we did with a nominee for this seat, we may not be in the predicament that we are.
And that's a valid point. That is a valid point.
The pandemic just keeps going.
And we have to remember, we were in a similar situation when the judge died of Scalia. I don't pronounce his name right. And what did Mitch McConnell say then? On appointing, when Obama tried to appoint, get one out there and, oh no, we gotta wait, we're too close to the election and we need to let the American people decide and yeah, we're gonna wait until after the election. So now we have the same scenario, but we're gonna go ahead and push that through because we need to get that in place. We need to get this person in place. I'm gonna need you to figure out, Mitch McConnell, if you're looking and watching us, I'm going to need you to figure out which story you're going to stick to. Because you're there to work for the American people, not for your party, and Democrats too, Democrat, Republican. You're not there to work for your party. You're there to work for the people. Why do we lose sight of that? Why is that sight lost once you get up to those levels?
Big eyes, little U's.
Man. They don't even take our calls.
You got a phone number?
Yeah.
Dear constituents.
Dear constituents. We are not able to talk to you, period. Yeah, but anyway, she's going to be probably ushered right on in, and that. We'll have a new Amy Barrett. Was that her name?
That's it. Amy Barrett.
Yeah, so do your research on her, people. Look up about things she's involved in, how she's alliance to, and how she's her judgments that she's sent down. So do your research. Don't take people's words. Do your research. Take our word, but do your research too. So yes,
I know we said we weren't going to talk about the pandemic.
You can't help it. You have to.
Yeah,
you have to.
So the governor.
Yes, the governor
of Missouri. Mike Parsons
and his wife.
Got the old COVID.
Got COVID. Got COVID. he's been on showing his videos saying, he's feeling great. There's still really no symptoms as of yesterday. I haven't seen him today, but I'm just, no mask. He
was a big supporter or advocate for not wearing one.
He said the American people can take care. The Missourians can take care of themselves, and they know the right thing to do. And yes.
And then he's been hosting a lot of events.
A lot of events, big events. Like not a couple of people. We're talking big events.
Events like over that number that we're
over that threshold.
Got it.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but do as I
say,
not as I do.
Mm-hmm, that's it.
But we do wish him well. We hope that him and his wife recover from it.
Okay, because again, our disclaimer: we talk and we joke and we jest, but it's real.
It is real. We never said it wasn't.
No. We've never said that. But
we
just remember we
the
have
ways
to be smart.
That it stops
at the door.
At restaurant doors and things like that. I mean, hey, sometimes you got to have a little humor to keep from crying about it.
The absolute truth. Because
all the lockdowns, all the masks, all the everything. We are social people. We're made to be social people. So it's a little hard. It's a little hard. But, we're hopeful. We're hopeful that we're going to come out of this. And like I said, it'll be over with after the election. Humor. Remember I said humor. Okay, yes. But anyway, our governor, yes, we do wish them well.
So you had mentioned before, we're talking about traveling and things like that.
Yes.
They said people are getting on planes and traveling to nowhere.
Like this, a U-turn.
Because I just missed the flight and the line's so bad. I just go buy me a ticket. I want round trip from Joplin to Joplin and just get on there.
I mean... And they're not super expensive. They're like $250. But I'm like, if I'm going to spend I'm going somewhere.
I did check on my ticket to Jamaica. And
yes.
It is only $4.93 round trip. And yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You heard me, Megan. $4.93.
We're going to Jamaica next year.
Round trip.
Is it this year we're going?
February.
We are going to Jamaica. Come
join us.
COVID
will be over in November, so I'll be safe in February.
You'll be safe.
Yeah.
Take your mask just in case.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take two.
But I mean, do you miss America? Do you miss flying that much that you would fly to nowhere? I mean, basically, you would just do a 250-mile trip and back.
And you gotta really be home, like, I don't know, just tired of being at your house.
You don't like your family. You don't like your husband, your wife, your kids. You need a break. I'm going up on a flight, and I need to hear them say, "Please fasten your seatbelts and turn off all cell electronic whatever." I haven't flown so long I can't even remember the spiel anymore. But I'm not going to go book a ticket to nowhere.
No.
Not, yeah.
I need to know what those people do that are booking tickets to nowhere. Like,
it's just the experience.
Are you just
I guess.
retired? What's going on?
Yeah.
I don't think they're giving away snacks and drinks on there.
They are on these flights.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
And I'm like, do you book first class or are you in coach? How are you doing this?
Why would you pay extra? You can get a free upgrade at this point. Going nowhere.
Free upgrades for flights to nowhere, and this is going to cost you your points.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I mean, people traveling and people that are already in space are going to be voting.
Yeah.
How can we get a space vote right, but we can't get mail-in or absentee? We can't get any of that right. Can't get it right. I'm just curious. The lady that I forget her name, look it up, that's out in space, is going to be able to vote from space.
I have no comment.
This is a first.
This is a first for me, but I really have no comments.
How do you? It's like, okay, well, America, we're so great at some things, but wow, we can't get our voting system flawless. But we can. We can vote from space. And we can send people to the moon, but we can't get the voting right. I mean, I need some feedback, y'all. I need some feedback. Help me to understand, because it is what it is. There we go. It is what it is.
I don't even know how you make that make sense. Like, literally.
Yeah. Help us.
Her vote can get here, though.
And it's going to get here. Technology, they're going to take it, count it, the clerk counts it, and yes, she will vote from space. So yeah.
You need to make sure that your vote counts.
We're always talking about that. If you are not registered, be get registered. You have until October the 7th if you are in Missouri. October the 7th. You have until October the 21st to request a, I think it's the absentee or the mail-in ballot. Absentee mail-in.
Or you can go to the courthouse.
Or don't wait, though. And for people who are already registered, please double check that you are registered. We have heard some people who have been knocked off the register for whatever reason. But we can vote from space. But yeah, so I don't understand that. Please, please, please exercise your right to vote. Get registered. And once you're registered, make sure you are voting. Not only in the November election coming up, but you're going to need to vote in the congressional, the legislative type elections also. And your local.
So, moving on.
Moving on.
I had someone ask me a question the other day, and I thought, let's put it out there on the show.
Well, let's do.
Let's see how the people, what the people think.
Okay, what are we putting out?
Do you think that we've become a little too politically correct? Let me tell you why. Do you feel the politically correct way to, if you're staying in a room with people and a person didn't know your name, and they were to say, that lady.
Okay.
And they described you as the black lady.
That would be me.
Would that be incorrect politically? Or wouldn't it be? Or does it depend on who you're speaking to or the intent in which they gave the comment?
Yes and yes. That is not an answer. But yes and yes, because really, are you just going to point and say that person? What are you going to, I mean, yeah, that's a good question. What do you think, viewers? What do you think? How should the address be?
And what is the appropriate way to say, I prefer person of color? Because you don't necessarily know my heritage, but you know I'm not necessarily Caucasian. So, person of color.
But I do have it in me, so there you go.
Right.
Fun fact for you.
I prefer that over all the other options. But everybody is a little different. So, what is your preference?
Melody is my name. That is my preference. Get to know me so you can say, oh, Melody, yes, But yeah, I mean, black, person of color, people of color, whatever you said. I'm brown. I'm really not black. I'm really brown. But, you know, for some reason we don't want to say brown because I don't even know why.
I'm saying.
Yeah. But that goes back to why do we even have those boxes to check?
Why does it matter?
Why?
So my biggest peeve along these lines is for any person to be like, oh, the colored girl.
Yeah. Oh, now see,
Nothing gets me more riled up than for someone to be like, oh, the color, huh?
And as you say that, it's funny because if you really think about it, white is in the color box also. And so which color are you talking about?
Absolutely, because the first thing and my friend cracks up at me, she's like, Danica, every time someone says that, you're like, am I purple? Am I red? Like,
yeah, which color?
Yeah.
Which color?
It just, and going back into, slavery times and things of that nature, it was the colored fountain and the colored bathroom. So I think a lot of those things to me are all kind of tied up together. But
that's part of systemic.
That just gets me riled up. But it might not do anything. Like, some people don't mind it. But to me, it's like, no, thank you.
It does sound derogatory.
I feel so.
Yeah.
But people might say it innocently and don't think that they're saying anything wrong because they didn't say, the coveted N-word or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and really words, it's what power you give to them. But if you're being derogatory towards somebody.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're not all lacking common sense. Some people do. But with something you're saying is meant to be offensive. And you don't have to say, oh, I don't mean to be offensive. Well, if you have to say that, then it's usually offensive. Just a good rule of thumb. That's all I'm saying. A good rule of thumb. But, politically correct, it's a lot in the political world. But our guest is someone who's done a lot in the political arena, who is doing a lot in the political arena, who is an active, vocal person who speaks on issues that are, some of us, we would be like, yeah, maybe, okay, well, we're going to let her touch on that. And she does an eloquent job at it. And she also tells stories. And she's also a teacher. I mean,
sounds like a full plate.
I don't even know what else is out there for her to do. But in case you didn't know, people, I'm talking about Nanda Nunnelly. She is an advocate for people. It doesn't matter, black people, white people, brown people, yellow, whatever people. She is an advocate for equality, equity, and justice. And really, we should all be for that, for all people. Because rights are inherently ours anyway.
As human beings.
As human beings. And so we should all have the same anyway. But yeah, anyway. So we're going to, the next when we get done with, come back with you, we're going to have Nanda Nunnelly. And we are anxious to talk to her and see hear some information that she's got to share with us on what she's been up to and what she's looking forward to doing.
Soul Food Kitchen for some tasty fried catfish and slamming fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese, and homemade cornbread. We even have your favorite Kool-Aid, rare. Delicious home cooking is what we do, serving love on a plate just for you.
All right, back to the Colbert Connection. Thank you for hanging with us. And like I said, we have Nanda Nunnelly that's going to be sharing some wisdom with us and sharing some things that she's doing in the political arena.
I'm excited. Hello.
Miss Nunnelly.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. It is so wonderful to be here. Also.
Oh, I know. We're glad to have you. My uncle, actually, her dad, my uncle's like, how come we haven't had Nanda Nunnelly on yet? How come we haven't had Nanda? And I'm
He's been asking us that for 2 months.
Yes, for at least 2 months. So, Uncle D, if you're watching, we got her now. So put a question in. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you and what you got going on.
Well, the newest thing is I was elected to the Democratic National Committee.
Nice.
3 people in the state of Missouri represent Missouri on the National Committee, and I was elected for that in June. So getting prepared, I have my first meeting, and unfortunately, because of COVID, it's not in person, so it's a Zoom meeting. Our first meeting is in October. We're really getting ramped up for the election as well.
Yes.
So that's the other thing I've been working on, is making sure we get people registered. I appreciate so much what you guys are talking about. As far as our vote is so important.
People need to realize that.
Yes, and so many people gave up their lives.
Yes.
For our vote,
Yeah.
for us to be able to vote. So it's just so important. So getting people registered and making sure that people know absentee, mail-in. In fact, I just did my absentee voting today, so I have my little sticker I put on my mirror at home so I could just look at it every day.
Yes, be happy about it.
Yes, yes. So those things, and then also Mini Hackney, the Mini Hackney Community Service Center, I'm the president there. We just received a $10,000 grant.
That's 10,000.
$10,000 grant from the 400 Years of African American History Commission. Wow. It is through the Park Service, and what we will be creating with that grant is we'll be making a web page, first of all, a website for Mini Hackney, but we're going to do a virtual Black Heritage tour, do it virtually and also physically. So we will be getting together. We have a year to complete this. So luckily with COVID, we can't really have in-person meeting. We'll be getting people together. It'll be community involvement. And I know you all had been kind of working on some things over here, so we're going to try to on Broadway at Langston Hughes Broadway. So we're going to try to make sure that we get all of that included in. But I'm real excited about that.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah. So, and then let's see,
You'll
Langston
be on that
Hughes.
committee when you get one.
Yes, you already are. You already are. So, Langston Hughes Cultural Society.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So, that really came out of just doing a lot of research on the Community Service Center.
Okay.
And learning that Langston Hughes had visited the Community Service Center back in 1958.
Yes.
And also, you know, we don't do enough for Langston Hughes.
True that.
He had always claimed Joplin as his hometown, talked about it in some of his essays, and so one of the things we wanted to do was just to find a way that we could encourage the community to learn more about him.
Okay.
And so we set it up as a nonprofit. It's a 501c3. So we also received a grant from the 400 Years of African American History Commission. I keep trying to make sure I don't get that wrong.
Want to get the name right.
Yeah. So we received a grant to put on a play by Langston Hughes. So we are working on, you know, Langston Hughes was not just a poet. He was a composer. He was a essayist. He was so many things, but he was also a playwright.
Right.
And so in 1958, while he was here in Joplin, he was working on a play. He was writing the music and the actual play called Tambourines to Glory. And so we're looking at possibly putting that play on sometime next year after COVID. We know the original idea, Langston Hughes wrote a play called Black Nativity. And it is the nativity story told from you know, an African American perspective. And originally that was the idea that we would try to do that one, but because of COVID, that's not going to happen this year. You know? COVID has changed so many
it has.
things. Yeah. So, so that's what we've got going with Langston Hughes, and then we have with Connect to Culture, Minnie Hackney, Spiva, the Post Library with there's a whole bunch of different groups that have come in together. We are bringing Charles McPherson, who was born here
Joplin
in Joplin.
native, yes.
He's a master jazz saxophonist. Played with Charles Mingus. So many things. He's just an amazing musician. He lives in San Diego. He's going to come here. We had originally set it for February. Again, COVID. And so now we've moved it to July, but it's going to be called The Journey Home. And we have several different things that we're working on for a week of time that he'll be here, including a free concert for the community.
Yes.
He's bringing a band with him, and so they'll put on a free concert for the community. And then we'll have a paid concert that we'll be doing to raise money to do a scholarship fund in his name at Missouri Southern.
That's good.
Yeah,
so that's a good collaboration from a lot of organizations here.
And as soon as people found out about it, they just wanted in on it. You know, it's just it's really a wonderful collaboration, and so that is. I'll bring up one other. That's plenty. That's plenty.
In between, you working and.
Yes. So, and then the other thing is also just talking about equity in our community.
Yes.
And we have, with Minnie Hackney, we have been raising funds for Black-owned businesses to have memberships to the chamber, because we feel that we want to support what Toby Teeter was brave enough and courageous enough to put out.
Absolutely.
And so the other thing that I'm working on right now is next Monday night, getting people together to go to the chamber and speak on behalf of diversity and equity in our community.
Love it.
And the last several meetings have been largely attended by people who want to maybe talk against what Mr. Teeter has done. And so we want to go and support. So I'm encouraging anyone that believes in what Toby Teeter put out. And, you know, myself, I think we can go even further. I think we need to go even further. But to come Monday night, this coming Monday night, to the council meeting and have their voice be heard.
I like that. I mean,
what time is that for the people that don't know? I know you know. I know you know, but for those of us that
I don't know anymore. No.
what time is that on Monday?
7 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock?
It starts at 6.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
That would be
you.
6 o'clock.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thank
Meeting
you
starts
very
at 6.
much.
Yes, I don't want
Well,
y'all to miss it.
That's right.
Well,
Okay.
but the way they've been going, you'd probably be right on time at 7. I mean, they're lasting 3 and 4 hours anymore. So yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I've got some wrong information there.
It's all
but
they
thank
probably
you
yeah.
so
You gotta,
much.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about your position as the DNC chair for Missouri. One of the yes.
One of the three. Yes. I am joined with Cori Bush. I don't know if you know who Cori Bush is. She just was won her primary. She's running for the House of Representatives. And so Cori Bush is with me, and then also Freddie Doss. He is he works on several. He's worked on several different campaigns and different things. Great guy. So the three of us. And if you'll notice, they're all black people.
Yes.
Which
like yes.
Yeah, which has been really a change, a much needed. It was time, change. So we were elected to represent for the next 4 years.
Wow.
And usually they have meetings 2 to 3 times a year. And the Democratic National Committee is the steering committee for the Democratic Party.
Oh, okay.
And so we come up with policies and come up with, how the Democratic Party moves forward.
Okay. Okay. So the guidelines and things like that.
Yes.
Okay.
And it'll be much easier to do if we have a Democratic president.
Well.
Anyways, I am a Democrat, so I'm not gonna. I
Nope.
won't hide that.
Hey,
Anyway.
don't need to. Don't need to. Everybody, hey, whatever you are, speak on it. Show that support. So
I love it. So tell us, what is your big push? What? I know, is it something that you're voted into this position? And
Yes.
if that's the case, what was your passion behind doing it?
Well, I started about 4 years ago as a delegate for the state of Missouri. I went to Philadelphia, represented Bernie Sanders in the Democratic National Committee, and then became involved with the party as a committee person to the Missouri State Party. And really what I saw was, first of all, the lack of black women voices in positions of leadership.
yes.
Second of all, I believe that our rural area was not represented well. We have Kansas City, we have St. Louis, we have Columbia, and we had no people last time from the DNC from any rural areas outside of the main I-70 corridor. I live in McDonald County.
Which is amazing in itself.
But I grew up here in Joplin, and we are considered a rural community as well, really.
True.
I mean, it feels like a city here, but you just go a few minutes outside and you are in rural areas. And so, to me, I thought that it was very important that there was a voice for rural areas and from Southwest Missouri. So.
That's interesting, because a lot of times you don't see, like you said, that local representation. You always get the Republican representation, and you hear about it all the time. But for some reason, just in my observation, it seems that Democrats are afraid to be vocal or noted or seen.
Right.
What, can you talk on that, or is that?
And that's something that I have seen quite a bit. But let me tell you, this time has been a little bit different.
Okay.
We have gotten requests for Biden-Harris signs, like you
Okay.
cannot imagine, in McDonald County. In McDonald County.
Look, that's not just like what?
In McDonald County, Newton County, Jasper County, all over. We have been giving out signs right and left, and just people that are so excited to put that sign in their yard and represent. But you are right. It's difficult to live in a predominantly red area.
Absolutely.
People have worry about jobs and about their social,
Yeah.
groups and things like that. But this is the way I look at it, is that most of the time people who are Trump supporters or Republicans,
Right.
they don't have a problem at all talking about their political beliefs.
Yes.
I have no problem whatsoever talking about mine, and I encourage people to get involved with your party of choice,
Yeah.
whatever it be, your
Right.
party of choice. Get involved, because it's important. It's important to our democracy that we do feel represented in whatever party it is.
Because it's the right that we have earned.
Absolutely.
Right? And so just like you say, whatever you're going to be, if you're going to be a Republican, be the best of the daggum
Be
Republicans.
the best. Be the best.
You know,
That's
And
right.
if you're gonna be a Democrat, be the best.
That's right.
And that's exactly right.
I love it.
Do you ever foresee, or do you think there will ever be a time when we won't have to deal with Democrat, Republican, that we're just going to be able to, with this younger generation ushering in and their passion and the way they're grasping hold of things? Do you see a whole separate party come in, or do you see? What do you see?
I think that has been tried many times. Our democracy, our country
Right.
was created with a one-party system. It didn't
True.
have two parties to
True.
begin with, but very quickly split into two parties. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like, football game. What's the fun to go and just watch one team play? You know what I
True.
mean? You got to have those two teams and differing views. And but one thing I hope to see is that our two-party system could work together better,
Yeah.
because it right now it doesn't
This-
function.
that's
It
it,
just
yeah.
doesn't function, and we have to be able to see things from both sides. I think that's what we are lacking right now in so many ways, is to be able to work together. It's okay to
That's-
have two parties, and it's okay to
Difference of opinion.
yes,
Yeah.
but I've heard many people talk about, even back in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, like the senators and representatives, they would go and battle it out, at
Yeah.
the Capitol, but then they would leave and go home
Go have
and maybe
dinner.
go out to go have dinner
Yes.
together,
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore. We don't function that way, and that to me is really sad, because I have very good friends that
Yeah.
are Republican. We'll sit and have arguments, and we'll sit and
Yes.
discuss, but we can still be friends, and
Yeah.
we should be able to do that.
And I think that's a lot of what's lost, is the civility of discussions and things like that.
I feel like some of that comes from probably leadership in place. I feel like that's part of, it rolls
Yeah.
downhill. But
Yeah.
I feel like, yes, you have those friends now, and like they will cut you all the way off because
All the
you
way.
don't see the way that they see. Some people are talking about on Facebook how they just, I've lost like 10 friends today because I made a political comment.
Yeah.
So my question after all that to you would be that you've been in these positions for a little while. How do you feel after things like George Floyd and things have happened this year? Are conversations completely different in your world, in the political
Yeah.
field?
Well, I will say that my world, because of me coming out so strongly as a Democrat for many years before, I don't deal with a lot of people that feel differently from me and a lot of these
Okay.
things. You know what I mean? But yes, the conversations that have been needed for so long are finally, I think, starting to be had. But it's such a small little step that it's got to go so much further,
Yeah.
And we have to make sure that we push to make those conversations happen,
Uncomfortable sometimes as they may be, we need to come together. I mean, figure out a way that we can bridge that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
say.
And I say often that I am not going to allow you to be comfortable in order to make me uncomfortable.
I love it.
I mean,
Yes.
it's time that you feel some
Yeah.
uncomfortableness in
Yeah.
having these discussions, because I've been uncomfortable for a long time.
Long time. And it's almost expected of us, and I'm saying us because I'm specifically talking of Black, brown people. It's expected of us to be forgiving and, oh, it's okay, you didn't mean it, or whatever it may be, or keep your viewpoint down, or that kind of thing. So I get that. I get that and agree with it because we we're mad as hell. We're not taking it no more. That's the only quote I could think of right now. Sure, there's some more out there, but so you've that's a lot going on with the Democratic position that you have and the political position that you have. Can you speak a little bit on? I seen that it says you're teaching and healthcare and storytelling.
Yes.
Switching gears, but man.
So I started about 4 years ago going to schools, and I do basically living history presentations. So I have several characters that I do. I do own a judge who was the enslaved woman of George Washington, the president of George Washington, who escaped, and she was constantly pursued all the way up until George Washington died. And so, and the only way we know about her is because he put an ad in the newspaper that, trying to get her to come, for people to catch him. People don't think about George Washington as being a slave owner in Philadelphia, which was a free, basically free area. And so her story really resonated with me, and so that was the first character that I started doing. And then I also do Harriet Tubman.
Yes.
And oh my goodness, Ida B. Wells.
Ida B. Wells.
Ida B. Wells. Yes.
Yeah.
And so mainly, so I've always been into theater and acting since I was very young. I've been involved with Joplin World Theater and different things, and so it was a way for me to tell history and to tell it in a first-person point of view that really, I think, gets the point across to kids. And so I try to, when I go to, elementary schools, I do it one way, and then I go to high schools, or whether it's, for adults, you can tell a little bit more of the story. And so, but that's something that I just have, I really enjoy doing that as a way to share stories that people may not ever learn. Many people wouldn't hear some of the backstories to, Ida B. Wells, such an amazing woman. One of the creators of the NAACP, but was basically written out of the NAACP because many of the men involved in that thought that she was too strong.
Yeah.
She was too strong. So she's my lady. You know what I mean?
You've been viewed as that. You've got that label a few times. But hey, is there such a thing?
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as a woman being too strong? I mean,
I don't think so.
Yeah, and it's history. You're telling history that needs to be shared.
Yeah.
I like that.
I have a lot of fun with it. It's every time you go, there's always something, interesting that happens with little kids. They say what they think, So
no holds barred.
That's right.
No holds barred. Man. So you're working hard with doing that. You're doing storytelling. You're teaching.
Yeah. So basically, what I have been doing is I'm a substitute teacher down in McDowell County. And then I also was working with the Parents as Teachers program with East Newton.
Wonderful. East Newton
School. I know.
All right. Yeah, we're going to go back to that.
Yeah. It's like, wow.
And I will say that I am no longer working there right now because of COVID.
Right. Gotcha.
It's been it has been a really difficult time for some of those programs, especially, Parents as Teachers program where you're actually going into people's homes and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So.
And that was a needed program. I remember when I was a single mom back in, Parents as Teachers would come in and make sure the kids were doing, as far as their development and everything. Right. So that's a needed resource, and that's sad if that's not being able to be done.
Yeah. Well, and it some of the school districts are continuing to do it and trying to do it as safe as possible.
Yeah.
But you probably all have read about the Newton County Health Department that has allowed students who are have been asked to quarantine. They've allowed them to come back to the school to go to school and participate in sports. And so
with no quarantine? I mean,
no quarantine.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right. I think it's basically for the sports program, but you know, so I think it makes for a very unsafe environment, especially for people who are susceptible to, you know, having issues if they contract COVID. So, difficult decisions that many teachers are making right now in school districts across our state and across our nation.
Yeah, and we applaud teachers because, you know, they have the hardest job to me, you know, and I still can't for the life of me understand how it's ever discussed to cut funding for education when that's what we're putting out into the world, to be the leaders and the company heads and things like that. But we want to cut education and how we teach them and cut the salaries and all that.
Yes.
Never understood that.
They should be paid more instead
Absolutely.
of less. Yeah.
Absolutely.
More money
Especially
going.
in Missouri.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We talk with that.
And many families are understanding how hard it is to be a teacher
Yes.
now when they are, you know, teaching their kids at home.
Yes.
So,
They're like, hey, where's the timeout button? It's like, hey, fire that teacher. Yes, it's disruptive students.
yes.
Yeah, that's your kid. Yeah. So it's. I guess I want to know on going back to the political because it's just
It's that time of the year.
It is.
Yes, it is.
And it's it never goes away. I mean, it's always something popping up. So, what would be one of the most difficult things you've had to encounter in doing your, in your political endeavors or trying to fight for equity and justice?
Probably the most difficult thing that I encountered was several years ago. I was part of the platform committee for the Missouri Democratic Party. And one of the things that we did is we traveled all over the state and we talked to people about what they wanted to have in the platform. We were rewriting the platform for the Missouri Democratic Party, which had not been done for years and years. And so in attending these meetings across the state, I don't know, it may be because I was the only black person, but I had people come to me and tell me about racist activities happening within our Democratic Party.
Wow.
And that's hard because, you know, here I am as a supporter of the Missouri Democratic Party. But it would have been harder for me to have done nothing. And so, you know, during that process of going through and examining and realizing there was no way to call it out. There were no, you know, policies in place to hold anyone accountable. And so what I did was I worked with a dear friend here in Joplin, actually, and we created a unity and diversity panel, a panel that anytime there is any type of you know, it started out with dealing with racism, but as I started thinking about it, you needed to have, you can't just do just racism. It needs to be sexism.
Yeah.
It needs to be anything.
Ageism, all of that, yeah.
Yeah, homophobia, xenophobia,
yes.
you know, everything. And so we created this panel to speak to those issues and to hold people accountable. So there is an 800 number that people can call now that is always posted at any Democratic gathering that they can call, or you can get it on the website at the Missouri Democratic Party. If you know of issues of racism or any type of ism, you know, you can contact, and I'm the chair of that part of that committee, and we will investigate and we will hold people accountable. So I say the hardest thing is just like in your own family, when you have a kid that, you know, a teacher's saying, hey, this kid is bad, they've done this, they've done that. That's hard. It's hard within the Democratic Party to hear that as well. But the worst thing would be to ignore it. And so that's one of the things that I'm very proud of, being able to be a part of that.
That's good.
No, you go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say that because a lot of times in the Democratic Party you hear of contention, a lot of contention. What locally or in your arena, what do you see that can be done to overcome that, or to put that message out that, And I know it happens in everybody's. It's just not vocal sometimes. So what would you?
You know, and when you're speaking of contention, maybe I'm not understanding what you mean.
And that could be the wrong word. Not really contention, I guess. Maybe not stepping up enough, not being more forthright with things, you know. And I'm specifically speaking of a couple of years ago, I believe it was, when the whole, maybe I guess the 4 years, when the Bernie and all that was going down, and it was just like the Democrat, everybody, the Democrats imploding, you know, that kind of thing. So
well, and I was a Bernie Sanders
delegate,
so I was part of that. So you know, I think it's kind of like bringing in new people, and then those people not understanding how the other people have worked, and then it's like, you know, button heads and trying to learn how to work together. And I really believe in our part of the state, in Southwest Missouri, we did that better than some of the other places. Our leadership here immediately said, hey, let's bring them in, let's work together. And you know, that's what we've been trying to do through the party. There's always going to be a little bit of contention. You know, it's just like many people wanted Bernie Sanders to be the nominee, and then many people had Joe Biden, and you saw that, you know, back and forth. I do hope that people understand how important it is that we support Biden, because it's much bigger than just, I didn't get my favorite candidate.
Absolutely.
You know, but I think it really comes down to, just like anything else, making people knowing that they have voice. And if you don't feel like you're having voice, you're not going to remain a part of something. Yeah. And I'll be the first to say, if you feel like within the Democratic Party that you don't have any voice here, or that your voice is being shut down, call me. I'll give you my phone number. Look me up on Facebook. Yeah. Let me know, because that's not how we want anything to happen. I mean, that's what I have tried to do more than anything, is to make sure that everyone has voice, that everyone feels that they have a place within our party. So you let me know if there's anything at all.
Y'all heard that, right?
Yeah.
Call her directly. Get her on Facebook, on Messenger. She will get back with you.
Yes. And we you know, we really need to know the concerns. We can, I say we. I keep.
No,
the Democratic Party can't see everything or know everything, but it is our job to try to get out there and to do what we can to do that, you know. So, but if there's ever a time that somebody says, hey, I think we need to have someone from the Democratic Party step up here and speak or say something, let us know. We've got plenty of people that you know, are willing to step into those positions. Yes, and we have something coming up really soon called Eleanor Roosevelt Days, where there's going to be quite a few people stepping up and talking. I think even yourself, maybe.
Absolutely. I'm going to be the MC, actually.
That's right,
yes.
Yes. And so that will be, let's see, it's going to be October 16th. Yes, and it's going to be all digital, so you can tune in. We've got a wonderful musician. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils, but they're a band from way back in the 70s. I know. We were listening to the Jackson 5 back then. But anyway,
Marvin Gaye, just saying. Al Green.
Well, one of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils has written a song that is perfect for the times that we're living in right now.
Nice.
And so he's going to be performing. There'll be musicians and all different types of things. And I believe digital tickets are available for $15. And there'll be several, let's see, who we have speaking. Nicole Galloway for governor, Alyssa Kennedy for lieutenant governor, Yinka Folletti for Secretary of State. Have you heard Yinka? Oh, he's wonderful. Rich Finneran for Attorney General, and Vicki England for State Treasurer. So
that's a good lineup.
Yeah.
Pretty good lineup.
Pretty good
Make sure you tune into that October the 16th.
If you want to know what's going on in the Democratic Party, that's a great place to start.
Absolutely.
Right there.
And that's for anybody.
That's right. That's right.
Well, thank you, lady. We appreciate sharing this time with us. And was there any closing thing you want to say, or
just make sure that you are registered to vote and that you vote? It's so very important. It's what our country was founded upon.
Absolutely.
Our representation. Make sure that you vote.
Love it.
I love
We
it.
couldn't have said it better ourselves.
I know. I mean, it just goes back to the importance. Every vote counts, and we've got to have people registered.
Absolutely.
I know.
And like she said, she voted today.
Yeah.
So
You can vote.
You can go
vote.
vote.
Today. Not today, it's a close, but,
but tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes,
Is your
if-
absentee vote.
If you don't know where you're going to be November 3rd, I believe, yes.
Yes.
Go get her done.
Get her
Get her
done.
done. Get her
So
done.
next week, what do we got going?
I have no idea. No, I'm just playing. We've got Aaron Garcia.
Yes, I'm
And
excited.
He's a friend of yours.
Yes. He is just, this man, he's got a story to tell. And he's a #1 Amazon book-selling author. Yeah, which is like totally incredible. And I can't really give his story. I'm going to let him tell his
don't
story.
You tell it.
Right.
That's right.
You guys make sure you tune in because you want to hear from Aaron Garcia. I'm telling you. And he's a nurse. He's a nurse. He does a lot. He's got a lot of hats he wears. But he's got a story to tell, and I think people need to hear it.
Well, then come and tell us, sir.
Yeah.
We are excited to hear about it.
Yes.
And we'll have some more exciting topics. We will have the fact check. And I'm sure you'll see it on our page before tomorrow. Well, tonight is over probably. You'll probably see the fact check up.
Because she's on it.
I'm going to have a ticker like they have on, like TNT and
We
CNN,
can do it. All we got to do is sit and be ready and do it
That'd
like
be
this.
exciting.
Get our tech crew. I mean, they might have other plans, but...
But what, we wanted to make sure that we got off here. But, I mean, I think it's 10 o'clock our time? I think
That
it's
it'll be
Eastern time.
over?
I think it's 9 o'clock Eastern time.
It starts
Which
8
is-
here.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I'm
it
going the
starts
wrong
at 8.
way.
You're
Okay.
going backwards.
Okay.
Come back this way.
Carry on.
Okay.
Carry on.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Be ready for the debate. Everybody needs to watch it because you need to be aware of what's going on and what's being said and what's being discussed.
Yes.
My daughter's thrilled that she's got to watch it tonight. 14-year-old, yeah, she's real thrilled. She's not, but
There's some hot topics out there, so.
and a lot will affect their generation.
Yeah. I mean, everything at this rate, so I am really
Jobs,
excited to see
just
what
everything.
they touch on this first round. Or don't.
Or don't.
Or deflect, or
yes.
whatever.
Like you said, it's going to be a lot of back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
I'm secretly, not secretly, I'm just low-key really ready for that. Because he's got away with so much. He's saying anything and everything, and it's like, dude, somebody's about to get with you and say just as much as you saying.
But the thing that I think will hurt the whole situation is that because of the way he bickers and the way he kind of almost bullies,
Yes.
I don't think once it goes, it just goes.
Yeah. And
So
and it's on Fox.
go figure.
So, I mean, I think they have to split the,
Between the
do
stations.
them equally divided. But we'll see.
So
the
do you
first one
think like
tonight
half
is
are on the
Fox.
fake news stations and half are on the real one?
Well, it's
Just wondering.
it's all. Well, that's what kind of surprises me is that you say fake news, but news is so is all the news fake? All the news stations are fake. All the reporters, everything's fake. Inquiring minds want to know. Anyway, make sure you watch the debate tonight at 8 o'clock.
You have your popcorn ready, yeah.
I got mine. And be sure to join us next week, Tuesday at 6 o'clock for the Colbert Connection. Thank you.